My sister-in-law slapped my 7-year-old daughter at Thanksgiving, then waited for me to scream. I didn't. I took my child's hand, looked at my silent husband, and told his sister she had just made the biggest mistake of her life. Before New Year's, a stack of financial papers would prove why. What had they been doing with my name? The sound was not loud. It was sharp and flat, like a hand striking a tabletop. For half a second, I did not understand what I had heard. Then my daughter screamed. A spoon clinked against a plate behind me. The smell of turkey, browned butter, and rosemary still hung over the dining room. 11 adults were in that house. Now every voice stopped. I ran into the living room. My daughter stood near the hallway with one hand pressed against her cheek. Her other wrist was trapped in my sister-in-law's grip. 4 small wooden figures lay scattered across the rug. Vanessa was pulling her toward the front hall, saying she needed to learn how to share. Then I saw my husband. Daniel stood behind his sister, 3 steps from our child. He had seen everything, one foot lifted slightly, as if he meant to move. Vanessa looked back at him. His foot came down. My daughter turned toward him, crying so hard she could barely breathe. "Dad?" He said nothing. I crossed the room before I felt myself move. I closed my hand around Vanessa's wrist. "Let go of my daughter. Now." My voice did not rise. In that moment, it felt colder than shouting. Vanessa released her eye, pulled my daughter against me, and saw the red marks around her wrist. Her whole body shook inside my arms. No one stepped forward. Not my mother-in-law, not Vanessa's husband, not the relatives near the dining room, and not Daniel. I used to think the person who hurt a child was the one who raised a hand. That night I learned there was another kind of hurt. It happens when a child looks toward the person meant to protect her and sees that person standing still. I helped my daughter into her coat. Her fingers shook so badly she could not pull up the zipper. I gathered her toy bag, the wooden figures, and Baxter, the stuffed rabbit she carried everywhere. Then I looked at Vanessa. "You will never put your hands, your name, or your decisions inside my family again." She stared at me. "By New Year's, you'll understand exactly what that means." I did not explain. I did not know every step yet. I only knew I was finished waiting for someone else to do the right thing. Daniel followed us onto the porch. Snow had begun to gather along the steps. He opened his mouth, but no words came. I locked the car before he reached the passenger door. There would be time for him later. My daughter needed me now. We drove until the house disappeared behind the trees. Then, from the back seat, she asked, "Why didn't Dad help me?" I gripped the steering wheel. "None of this was your fault," I said. It was the only answer I could give without breaking apart. As I turned onto the main road, I remembered a stack of papers Daniel had once placed before me and asked me to sign quickly. For the first time, I wondered where else my name had been used without my consent. To understand why my husband stood 3 steps from our daughter and could not take the 4th, you have to understand the house that raised him. Daniel grew up learning that peace meant keeping Vanessa satisfied. She was older, louder, and praised for being decisive. When she chose the restaurant, everyone went there. Daniel was praised for the opposite. He was quiet and helpful. The child who never caused trouble or asked why his sister received more. When their father died, the family cabin and the estate went to Vanessa, with instructions to look after everyone. Daniel received a box of tools and a short line thanking him for always being easy. He read it. I mistook that silence for strength. People often praise a child for being easy without asking how many disappointments that child had to swallow. Sometimes the good child is not loved more. Sometimes he has only learned that needing less makes life safer. After we married, the pattern followed us. Vanessa decided where Thanksgiving would be held, who brought each dish, and where everyone sat. She arrived late to Emily's christening, yet expected the photographs to wait. At one cookout, she told relatives that Emily was too old to be so shy. Her compliments carried small insults. She always explained how my cooking could have been better. Daniel gave me the same answer. That was just how Vanessa talked. I accepted it because I wanted Emily to have cousins nearby. I wanted her to know a grandmother's kitchen and feel that she belonged. The spring before Thanksgiving, Emily spent a rainy afternoon making a birthday card for Chloe. She drew flowers and used the last of her glitter glue. At the party, Vanessa glanced at it, called it sweet, and placed it face down without showing Chloe. Emily noticed. On the drive home, she said she had enjoyed herself. But I had seen her sitting apart from the other children, smoothing her dress over her knees. Children often recognize contempt before adults are willing to name it. I had called my silence maturity. Often it was only fear of becoming the woman everyone blamed for ruining the family mood. The most dangerous person in a favored family is not always the one given too much power. Sometimes it is the whole room, trained to make itself smaller so that person never has to hear no. When my mother-in-law called about Thanksgiving, she said everyone was expected. Emily chose 4 wooden figures to bring. I told her she could share some, but she never had to give away everything that belonged to her. I did not know those words would become the reason Vanessa raised her hand. The house smelled like turkey, apple pie, and browned butter. Vanessa directed the kitchen. Daniel carried dishes and stayed careful not to slow her down. Everything still felt normal. Emily sat beside her grandmother and talked about the classroom hamster. I remember thinking the day might pass without trouble. In the living room, she opened her cloth bag. Inside were 4 wooden figures, a mother, a father, and 2 children. She handed the 2 adult figures to Chloe. The girls placed them in an imaginary car and spent nearly an hour on a pretend road trip. Nothing was wrong until Chloe wanted all 4 figures. Emily said no, not sharply. She offered to trade, or to keep playing together. Chloe ran to get her mother. Vanessa entered, certain that Emily was selfish. She did not ask what had happened, or what Emily had shared. My daughter had not refused to share. She had only refused to surrender everything. Adults sometimes use the word sharing to make a child feel guilty for having a boundary. But sharing only means something when it is freely chosen. When an adult takes from one child to satisfy another, that is not generosity. It teaches the child that no does not count. Later, at urgent care, Emily told the nurse she had given Chloe 2 figures. She looked down at Baxter and asked why, saying, "They are mine," had made an adult hit her. That question settled something inside me. The doctor photographed the redness on her cheek and the marks around her wrist. She wrote down Emily's words exactly. The staff explained that the incident had to be documented because the person who hurt her was an adult who was not her parent. I asked for copies. I want the truth dated before anyone has time to change it. While we waited, my phone lit up. Daniel wrote, "We need to talk." My mother-in-law wrote that Vanessa had gone too far, but leaving had made everything worse. Neither asked if Emily was all right. Sometimes evidence is not saved to win a case. Sometimes it is saved so a child is never told that what she remembers did not happen. On the drive home, I called my cousin Rachel a paralegal. She listened, then said, "Before you confront anyone, find every document carrying your name. If you are still listening, comment where you are listening from and what time it is there. I wonder whether this story reaches you in a quiet morning, a long afternoon, or at night." The next morning, I opened the drawer where Daniel kept tax records and bank papers. At the bottom of an old file, I found my signature beneath the name of Vanessa's flower shop. I recognized the signature. I did not recognize the amount above it. I carried the file to the kitchen table and read it again under the morning light. 2 years earlier, I had agreed to guarantee a limited loan for Vanessa's delivery van. The amount was $20,000. Daniel had explained it as a one-time favor, something clear and contained. I had asked whether our house was at risk. He said no. The document in front of me was not that agreement. The credit line had been increased to $80,000. It now covered inventory, store renovations, and seasonal expenses. My name still appeared as a guarantor. I called Rachel before I touched anything else. She asked me to request the full digital file from the bank, including the completion record attached to the electronic signature. When it arrived, she walked me through each line, the email address, the internet address, the device used. The exact time the document was opened, the time the signature was completed. The amendment had not been sent to my personal email. It had gone to a family account Daniel managed. The record showed that it was opened and completed on his home computer. The timestamp placed me somewhere else entirely. That afternoon, I had been at Emily's school for a reading event. Her teacher had taken photographs of the parents sitting on the classroom rug. I was visible in 3 of them. I could not have opened that document. I could not have completed it. I did not feel angry at first. I felt cold. There is a kind of fear that does not make you scream. It makes you read the same sentence 5 times, because your mind refuses to accept that your name was used by the people you trusted most. Then I found the email chain. Vanessa had written, "Don't bury Laura in the details. She signs whatever you put in front of her." Daniel had answered, "I'll keep it simple." Those 2 lines changed everything. This was not a misunderstanding. Vanessa had counted on my trust. Daniel had helped make that trust useful to her. People often think financial independence means earning your own money or keeping a separate account. Sometimes it begins with something smaller, towing whose debt your name is carrying. With Rachel's help, I sent a written dispute to the bank. I asked them to suspend any new withdrawals, provide every document bearing my name from the previous 5 years, and review the amendment because I had never seen or approved it. The bank did not promise to remove me. They confirmed only that an internal review would begin. Rachel told me not to confront Daniel yet. Do not show your hand until you know what else is attached to your name. So I said nothing. Then I opened the transaction history. One entry stopped me. $35,000. Lake property improvements. Daniel had told me that money was for his mother's roof. But the address was not his mother's home. It was Vanessa's cabin. $35,000 was not cash Daniel had taken from a drawer. It was worse in a quieter way. He had borrowed it against the house we lived in. The account was a home equity line of credit, a loan tied to the value of our home. It was not free money. It was debt secured by the place Emily believed would always be safe. Daniel had told me the withdrawal was for repairs to his mother's roof. The invoices told a different story. The work had been done at the lake cabin under Vanessa's control. The address appeared on every page. If the debt was not repaid, Vanessa would not be the one risking her home. We would. I sat there for minutes. The house was quiet except for the hum of the refrigerator and Emily moving upstairs. Then I remembered her college savings account. Daniel was listed as the primary owner, so I had rarely logged in. I requested access and opened the account details. Under successor owner, I found Vanessa's name. She could not withdraw the money then. She had not stolen $1 from Emily. But if Daniel died or became unable to manage the account, Vanessa could take control of it. No one had asked me. No one had told me. I printed the page and placed it beside the photographs from urgent care. On one sheet of paper, my husband's sister was named as someone trusted to protect my daughter's future. On the other was the mark her hand had left around my daughter's wrist. A person does not have to take money from an account to violate it. Sometimes the violation begins when someone decides who will control your child's future and never considers that you deserve to be asked. That afternoon, a cabinet door closed hard. Emily flinched. She grabbed Baxter and pressed him against her chest. Later, she asked if Aunt Vanessa could come to her school. I told her no. She will not come near you unless I say it is safe. She nodded, but she did not put the rabbit down. I stopped wondering whether I was overreacting. I arranged 4 groups of papers on the dining table. The medical photographs and doctor's notes. The credit amendment and digital signature record. The email between Vanessa and Daniel. The home loan statement and Emily's college account. Each stack represented a different kind of silence. Silence while my child was hurt. Silence around my signature. Silence around our debt. Silence around my daughter's future. This was no longer only about what Daniel's sister had done. The real question was how much my husband had known, and how many times he had chosen not to tell me. When Daniel came home, he saw the papers before he saw my face. He did not ask where I had found them. He pulled out a chair, sat down, and looked at the page with Vanessa's name beside my signature. Then he asked, "How much do you know? How much do you know?" "Enough to know that Thanksgiving was not the first time you stood still while your sister crossed a line." Daniel looked at the papers, but not at me. I placed the urgent care report in front of him. He read the notes about Emily's cheek and wrist. Then I set down the digital signature record. He said the loan would have been repaid. He never believed our home was in danger. I showed him the email where Vanessa said I signed whatever he placed in front of me. Then came the home equity statement. $35,000 for the cabin, he said. The property was used by the family. He had planned to tell me later. I placed Emily's college account on top. Vanessa's name was listed as the successor owner. Daniel rubbed his face. He said she was the safest choice if anything happened to him. He had not wanted another argument. I waited. Finally, he said, "It was easier than fighting her." That sentence sat between us. "It was easier for you," I said. Emily and I were the ones paying for that ease. He explained that saying no to Vanessa had never changed anything in his family. The person who objected became the reason everyone was upset. As a boy, he learned that silence made the day end faster. I understood what he meant. Understanding did not make it acceptable. I could recognize a wound and still refuse to let it keep wounding my child. "You did not stop her from using my name because you wanted to avoid a fight," I said. "You did not stop her from hurting Emily for the same reason. Those are not separate failures." He looked down. "Your silence was not the absence of a decision, it was the decision." I did not ask for another apology. I gave him conditions. He would provide the bank with a written statement. Vanessa would be removed from Emily's college account. She would have no contact with Emily without my written approval. We would begin marriage counseling, and Emily would have her own therapist. Every financial document would be reviewed by both of us. No more signing for me. No more forwarding my name. No more keeping things simple. I told him I had not decided what would happen to our marriage. He asked whether telling the truth might cost Vanessa her credit line. The truth may cost her something. That is not the same as me taking something from her. My phone chimed. The bank had received my dispute. Additional withdrawals were suspended during review. Daniel's phone began to ring. Vanessa called once, then twice, then a third time. He looked at me. I did not tell him what to do. Change does not begin with regret. It begins when doing the right thing carries a price, and someone chooses it anyway. The phone rang. Daniel answered. "Vanessa, I'm going to tell the bank exactly what happened," she began shouting. For the first time in his life, he did not hang up to make the conflict disappear. "Vanessa, I'm going to tell the bank exactly what happened." For several seconds, she said nothing. Then she asked, "What did Laura tell them?" She did not ask about Emily. She wanted to know how much truth had escaped. Vanessa told Daniel to say, "I knew the credit line had been increased." She wanted him to claim that I had given verbal permission and that using the family email was convenient. She warned that the flower shop could lose its holiday funding. Daniel looked at me. Laura never saw the amendment. I know, because I was the one who kept it from her. Vanessa put the call on speaker. My mother-in-law joined. Margaret accused Daniel of letting me control him. She said he was risking his sister's livelihood over one bad moment. Then she said, "Emily will forget one slap. Vanessa may never recover from losing her business." Daniel closed his eyes. "Emily called for me, Mom. I stood there. She may forgive that one day, but I will never pretend it did not happen." Margaret said, "Children needed to learn how to share." I stayed silent. This had to be his choice. Daniel said he would not tell the bank I had agreed. He would sign a truthful statement. Vanessa was not to contact Emily, and future communication had to be in writing. Vanessa called him a traitor and hung up. The next afternoon, an SUV stopped outside. Vanessa and Margaret came onto the porch. I opened the door a few inches. Daniel stood beside me. Vanessa said she wanted to settle things as a family. Then she saw Emily holding Baxter. "Emily, sweetheart, tell your mother you pulled away and fell. Tell her Aunt Vanessa did not mean to hurt you." Emily froze. Baxter slipped from her hands. Vanessa said that if Emily told the whole truth, everyone could still have Christmas together. I moved my daughter out of sight and started recording. "Do not speak to my daughter again. You are asking a 7-year-old to protect you from the consequences of what you did." Vanessa struck the door and accused me of turning Emily against the family. Margaret told Daniel to open it. He stepped forward. "No, you need to leave." They refused. I called the police non-emergency line. An officer arrived, documented the situation, gave me a report number, and told them to leave. Afterward, Emily asked if she had ruined Christmas. No, adults are responsible for their own choices. Daniel picked up Baxter. Emily would not take it from him. I placed it in her arms. I once believed adults pressured children by shouting. Sometimes manipulation sounds sweet. It tells a child that if she says the right thing, Christmas will be saved. No child should carry that burden. That night, my cousin sent a message. "Laura, I recorded part of what happened. I was ashamed because the video shows me standing there doing nothing, but you need to see it." Beneath her words was a video, 47 seconds long. The first seconds of the video held only the sound of children laughing. My cousin had started recording because Emily and Chloe were playing with the wooden family on the rug. She had planned to send the clip after Thanksgiving. In the video, Emily handed Chloe the mother and father figures. They played happily. Then Chloe reached for the 2 child figures. Emily pulled them closer and said they could keep playing together, but she did not want to give away all 4. That moment destroyed the story Vanessa had begun telling, Emily had shared. She had simply kept part of what belonged to her. Then Vanessa entered the frame. The camera shifted, so the picture was not perfect. The sound was clear. Vanessa told Emily to give Chloe everything. Emily said, "They're mine. I brought them." Vanessa answered, "Not in this family. We share." Then came the slap. Emily screamed. Vanessa said, "Maybe now you'll remember." I watched the clip once. I stopped it when Emily turned toward Daniel. He stood 3 steps away. One hand lifted. His eyes moved toward Vanessa, then toward his mother. His hand dropped. The video left no room for the excuse that everything happened too fast. There had been a moment, not a long one, but long enough to choose. My cousin called after sending it. She said she had been afraid of making dinner worse. Once I stepped in, she told herself I had things under control. Then she admitted she had used my courage to excuse her silence. People nearby often believe they do not need to act once someone else does. They forget that a child can still see every adult who chose not to move. I saved the original file and sent copies to Rachel, the officer handling the report, and Emily's therapist, if the context became useful. I did not post it online. I did not send it to the family group. Evidence can protect someone, but it can also hurt them again when it is used to satisfy a crowd. I needed the truth preserved. I did not need the world watching my daughter's worst moment. Later, I showed the video to Daniel. He stopped at Emily's voice. "I heard her," he said. "I wish I could tell you I didn't, but I did. I needed you to admit that, but admitting it does not erase it." The next morning, the bank moved the review to its internal document fraud team. They scheduled separate interviews and asked Daniel, who received, opened, and completed the electronic amendment. During his interview, the investigator placed the digital signature certificate in front of him. "Did your wife ever authorize you to sign or complete this amendment on her behalf?" Daniel looked at me through the glass wall. Then he answered, "No, she did not." After Daniel said no, she did not, the investigator slid a written statement across the table. Daniel confirmed that I had agreed only to the original limited guarantee. I never received the amendment. It had gone to the family email account he controlled. Vanessa told him to keep the explanation short, and he did. He said he believed the loan would be repaid. The investigator answered calmly, "Believing a debt will be repaid is not the same as getting consent from the person whose name guarantees it." Daniel signed the statement. That was the first truth he told that carried a real cost. Before we reached home, Vanessa blocked his number. Soon after, she called from Margaret's phone. My mother-in-law said he was no longer welcome at the cabin. Vanessa said he had chosen his wife over his own blood. Relatives began sending messages. Some said family problems should stay private. Others warned that innocent employees could lose work. Daniel read every message. He looked deeply shaken. But he did not change his statement. Vanessa told people that Emily had been selfish, that the slap was only light discipline, and that I had waited for an excuse to control the family finances. She said Daniel was being pressured and her business would suffer because of me. Her version avoided two questions. Why had she struck a child? Why was my name on a document I had never seen? I did not answer every accusation. I sent one message to the family group. Emily's injuries had been documented by a doctor. There was an original video. The bank dispute involved an amendment I had never received or approved. I added that I would not discuss my daughter any further in a group chat. Then I left. Two relatives who had been in the room spoke up. They confirmed that Emily had shared the toys, that Vanessa had turned the disagreement into violence, and that Daniel had not intervened. They also confirmed that I had taken my child and left without threatening anyone. Not everyone believed me. But Vanessa no longer controlled the only version of the story. That same week, Daniel removed her as successor owner of Emily's college account. We named a neutral trustee and added alerts for changes. People often describe truth as a relief. In families built on silence, truth can cost someone traditions and the place they thought would always be theirs. Honesty matters only when a person keeps it, after that cost appears. Late that afternoon, the bank emailed us. The review was complete. They would not discuss the result by phone. The message ended with one sentence. A written determination regarding the disputed guarantee and credit line amendment will be delivered tomorrow morning. The envelope arrived before 9, while my coffee sat on the kitchen table. I opened it. The bank had separated the original limited guarantee from the later credit line amendment. Their review found that I had not been shown or asked to approve the increase. I would not be responsible for obligations created by that amendment. The unused portion of the credit line was canceled. Vanessa could not draw more money against my name. If she wanted financing, she would need new collateral or a lender. Every future change would require direct verification. The debt she had already used did not disappear. It remained hers to repay. The flower shop did not close. No one lost a job overnight, but Vanessa could not order the amount of flowers and supplies she had counted on. Several seasonal orders were canceled, and the shop reduced its schedule. I did not celebrate that. I had never wanted her employees punished. I wanted my name removed from a promise I had never made. Daniel contacted Vanessa about the money taken from our home equity line of credit. He asked her to sign a repayment agreement for the cabin work. If she refused, the amount would be recorded as a formal family debt, instead of another favor everyone was expected to forget. We closed the line to new withdrawals. Large transfers would require approval from both of us. We reviewed every account, beneficiary, and person listed with authority. It was work Daniel should have done years earlier. Doing it now did not erase that. That afternoon, Vanessa sent one message. I hope you're happy with what you did to my family and my business. I read it twice. I had not taken her store. I had not taken the cabin. I had not withdrawn $1 from her accounts. I had taken my name out of obligations I never agreed to carry. Some people call a boundary punishment because they have spent years benefiting from the absence of one. Removing my name did not take something that belonged to Vanessa. It stopped her from using something that belonged to me. Our attorney sent a written notice. Vanessa was not to contact Emily directly. She was not to come to our home, her school, or any activity. Any request for contact had to be made in writing. A future relationship would require an apology and a plan that made Emily feel safe. The paperwork was finally in order. Then a door closed hard upstairs. Emily flinched. Baxter rose against her chest before she realized she had grabbed him. That was when I understood that winning on paper was not the same as helping my daughter heal. That was why the following week I sat outside a play therapist's office with Baxter resting across Emily's lap. She still went to school. She still laughed at cartoons and asked for cinnamon toast in the morning. But she carried the rabbit from room to room. Raised voices made her shoulders tighten. Before every visit, she asked who would be there. The 4 wooden figures stayed inside a box beneath her bed. During the first sessions, Emily did not talk about Thanksgiving. She built a small house from wooden blocks. Then she placed the mother figure in front of the door and the child behind her. The father figure usually stood far away. Sometimes she turned him toward the wall. The therapist did not force an explanation. She simply reminded Emily that her body belonged to her. She was allowed to say no when an adult frightened a child. The adult was responsible. Healing was not dramatic. It appeared in small choices. Emily asked to keep the office door partly open. She chose where I sat. She decided when Baxter could rest beside her instead of in her arms. One evening, she looked at Daniel across the dinner table. "Dad, did you see Aunt Vanessa hit me?" He answered quietly, "Yes." Emily held her fork without using it. "Then why didn't you come?" Daniel did not mention his childhood. He did not blame his mother, his sister, or the shock of the moment. "I was wrong," he said. "You needed me, and I did not move. None of that was your fault." He apologized. He did not ask her to forgive him. Adults often want children to forgive quickly, because forgiveness makes the adults feel less ashamed. But healing is not a gift a child owes to the people who failed her. Emily had the right to need time, even when everyone else wanted the story to be over. Daniel and I continued marriage counseling. I told him that one truthful statement and one moment at the front door did not erase 9 years of silence. I needed consistency. I could not promise that our marriage would survive. He did not ask me to promise. Then Margaret invited us to Christmas. She wrote that the family should leave the past behind. Daniel answered without asking me what to say. "Emily is not the thing this family gets to move past." He declined the invitation. Later, I asked Emily what she wanted for Christmas dinner. She thought for a long time. Mac and cheese, dinner rolls, and no visitors. I told her it sounded perfect. So that was exactly what we had on Christmas night. Mac and cheese, store-bought rolls, a small apple pie, and 3 mugs of hot chocolate sat on the table. Emily placed the 4 wooden figures on the shelf. No one told her where to sit or what she had to give away. No one raised a voice when she reached for a second roll. She took 2. She placed 1 beside Daniel's plate. No one asked her to do it. Sharing means something only when a child knows she is allowed to keep what belongs to her. Daniel thanked her. Emily nodded and returned to her dinner. My phone buzzed. Vanessa sent a message. "I hope one day Emily understands what you took from her." I deleted it. I had not taken a family from my daughter. I had taken her out of a room where 11 adults had mistaken silence for peace. Taking back my name had never been only about a loan. It meant removing my name from a promise I had not made, reclaiming a voice in our home, removing Vanessa from Emily's financial future, and refusing to be called difficult for protecting my child. Dignity was not making Vanessa beg or winning every family. Is proven by action, not blood. An aunt is not family when she strikes a child and asks that child to lie. A grandmother is not protecting her grandchild when she values a business more than the child's fear. A father begins to earn his place again only when he acts, accepts responsibility, and does not demand forgiveness. I once believed a child needed a crowded table to feel that she belonged. Now I know family is measured by who stands up when a child needs protection. I do not know what my marriage will look like years from now. Daniel's future with us will depend on what he does consistently, not what he promises once. But I know this. Emily will never again look around a room full of adults and wonder whether anyone will move toward her. I will. Before this story ends, tell me how satisfied you are with the way I handled everything. Were you completely satisfied, partly satisfied, or do you believe I should have gone further? If your family stayed silent while someone hurt your child, would you give them a chance to change or walk away for good? Please share your honest thoughts below.